best thing we saw this week. You caught up with a World Series champion, Tyler White, former Gastonia Grizzly. Didn't get into the World Series, wasn't on the active roster, but was still in the dugout and celebrated.
Yeah, I don't know who was happier, me getting to see a picture. I'm looking around on AP Photos trying to find a picture of him and found one. And here I am, a Dodgers fan, talking to an Astro that beat my team. But it was a really neat moment to see, you know, Tyler's father, Brian, a lot of people remember, was the Gastonia Post 23 coach for a good many years. Tyler was kind of around as a kid watching his father's teams, and then of course he plays 1 year with Gastonia, and he plays 2 years with the Grizzlies, including the first year that they won the Pettit Cup championship in 2011. So really neat to see them be as successful as they were, and fun to talk to him. It's interesting. He's, you know, got a girlfriend that's from the Houston area, and he was talking about how she was just crying because she was overcome with the emotion of the parade, and you can imagine.
For those
we haven't had that kind of devastation here since Hurricane Hugo, but people that have ever been through tornadoes or a hurricane like that can relate to what the Houston fans and the joy they felt with their first, you know, professional baseball sports championship, because Houston's only had championships with the Astros, and I guess the Oilers won some old AFL titles, but you know, for the Houston Colt 45s and Astros, and to go through all that stuff. And it was fun to talk to him about that 2014 Sports Illustrated cover, because he was only in his second year in the organization, and and his comment to me on the phone was, well, you know, I thought it was kind of neat, but now that we made it all true, it makes it even neater. But he said, I think that the impression he got was you feel like you're in an organization that's doing things the right way when you read stuff like that, even as the big league team. And I think I wrote it in our story. They had lost 100 or more games for 3 years in a row, and were 72-90 the summer that came out. So obviously Sports Illustrated went out far on that limb and came correct in there. I think they're reprinting it. I've seen that. I think that's probably part of that.
Smart.
You know how they'll do their little package for when you win a championship. So I'm sure any Astros fan, and I know I was picking at Carson Dockery, Gaston College, he's wearing his Astros Tyler White jersey. I suspect that our Gastonia Grizzlies ought to get some sort of arrangement. Maybe we can have a Tyler White bobblehead like we did for Russell Wilson a few years ago. Yeah.
Pretty cool for that city, and for Tyler, who's a Chase.
He's a Chase High grad, and actually the second Rutherford County World Series champion, and the other was another similarly scrutinized, celebrated, exciting World Series, 1960 Smokey Burgess, who I got to meet as a kid. He used to run a filling station in Forest City, was on the 60 Pirates that beat the Yankees in that crazy Bill Mazeroski. It's weird. I was born in 64, and I've heard so much about something that 4 years before my birth, I feel like I was there because I was around some of those guys talking about that. And again, if you watch the classic baseball or ESPN Classic, you see an awful lot of information about that World Series. But Tyler joined Smokey Burgess as the two Rutherford County guys that are World Series champions. So really cool for him, and you know, and it is neat. Again, the Grizzlies, you got a Super Bowl champion and now a World Series champion.